When people hear me say that I consider beauty to be my religion, I'm sure the first thing that comes to mind is that I'm hedonistic or that I'm immoral or reckless even. But to tell you the truth, beauty has saved me in the same way that religion has saved a born-again Christian. Beauty instills in me the same serenity as someone who ducks out into the high noon sun after a Sunday Mass. And yes, it inspires me to be a better person, a moral person even. My Sunday Mass simply doesn't take place in a church, or at least no church that is associated with Christianity and its denominations. But the church to which I belong is a sacred place. It is a sanctum. It is the art museum. What other place has such a concentration of beauty? It is indeed a temple dedicated to it. I worship art. I worship art because of its homage to what is beautiful, the beauty we can hopefully replicate and oftentimes in vain. Do not let me be misunderstood. Beauty to me is divine. And if you have ever walked into a Catholic church, especially some of the ones in Europe, then you'll understand what I mean. Beauty is almost cloying in such places because beauty in these places is a mode of almost undying, obsessive respect to the divine, because beauty is this resource that we have given to us from God, perhaps as a way of showing our love and devotion, and we use it to show all varying styles of this love and devotion. Beauty seems to be a raw material which allows us to rejoice in the divine, and we give it form. We manifest the beautiful object, the beautiful thing. And when we embark on this enterprise of creating something beautiful by exerting this effort for having the endurance, those actions alone show how deeply we care about something. First of all, I think it's imperative that all religions have art. But both art and religion mix very seamlessly. And it is at this intersection that I feel we, let's say the religious person and me, the heretic, can compromise. The person who worships beauty need not necessarily be cast into the profane. Both the religious individual and the aesthete, me, share something sacred. But it's not just in the visual beauty of the things that we create or that we surround ourselves with, but for the sheer effort that we put in to create them and take care of them, to preserve them. I think this shows where we coalesce. The person who worships beauty understands the conduct which you must eventually assume in order to maintain the essence of beauty in things, and the pious individual understands this essence to be God. We both share dignity, perseverance, we have a sense of conduct, of laws, preservation, whether it is at a Sunday Mass or in the art museum. When we catch it, phantasmagoric and all at once visceral, it transports us. After a lively Sunday Mass, you may come out feeling the Spirit within you, feeling that much more convinced that God is watching over you, that God is guiding your hand. And when I come out into the daylight from the artificially lit salons of the art museum, I feel this too. I feel that beauty has enriched me, has made ugliness in the world recede. I feel reinforced, determined, and ardent in my dedication to finding beauty within this devastating reality. When the world feels volatile and I feel vulnerable, I retreat to the churches of art. When the world seems vacant, or conversely, I witness it succumb to some sort of delirium, some kind of chaos, I take refuge in the relics within the churches of art. Art museums are a stronghold of beauty. All the highest achievements of cultivated people in one place. Objects are formed of mastery and time and understanding, wisdom, esoteric knowledge, mysticism. There is an aura, a smell lingering in the air, and energy. When I am deeply unbalanced and disturbed, that is the place that I go. Those churches are shrines in which I can sublimate myself. They are a citadel on a remote island, the beauty and concentration like a barrage, a gunfire corona. Some days I feel so pained, like somebody pricking you with a needle in the same exact spot over and over and over again. I feel vexed. The anger just extrudes from me in violence, and I'm exhausted by it. I sit in my car some days or outside of work or wherever, and I pray for peace. I pray for tranquility. I hope for calm. and I find the calm in beauty. In learning more about it, in observing beautiful things, I find calm in the milieu of beautiful things. I feel better just by being near beauty. It is this holy firmament around beautiful things. It feels safe, just like the inside of a church feels safe. That evil will burn at the steps of the front portal. I've always observed that beauty commands silence. I've always loved that most people, whenever they're in an art museum, they know to whisper, to be quiet, like you are in a church, out of respect. I mean, you even dress better. I mean, I dress nice every day because I honor my femininity, but most certainly because I honor beauty. Because dressing beautifully every single day, considering what I wear, makes me conduct myself better. But I digress, really. Beautiful things, sublimely beautiful things, invoke this monk-like stoicism. Beautiful things do not try to be beautiful. They simply are. And even with all their grandeur, they are not in the least bit contrived. No matter all that effort, nothing feels crass or false or forced. It may be decadent at times, but always somehow maintaining a shade of quiet confidence, a whisper, something telepathic even. This quiet confidence is felt with God too, this invisible God in his absence. But we feel him, don't we? We feel him all the time, and he knows that we know, and that is enough. All of beauty and God, divine things, are autotelic. And if you don't know what autotelic means, I didn't know what it meant until a few months ago, but I think it's a wonderful word. It means unto itself. That is also the original meaning of virginal, not so coincidentally. And there is even a Latin phrase, ens causa sui, which also means something which is the cause of itself. Divine things always have this latent quality, being unto itself. Beauty and God, interchangeably, do not need a witness. We are here, and we do witness these things. We do feel the divine in our life, or we feel that there's some way that we can capture it. And as imperfect animals, beauty or God or whatever you want to call it have inspired us to be better, to live better lives, to seek out something higher than the base impulses which used to rule us. And perhaps it is this autotelic nature of beauty or God, this kind of modesty even, that inspires us to be more austere, to be more delicate with life, more deliberate and moral. I recently read about Plato's forms, which I find fascinating, and if I'm correct in understanding this concept, it delineates the central issue in both beauty's destructiveness and the Christian Catholic problem of sin. There is beauty, which is, as Plato describes it, a form. Immutable, unchanging, good, true. And there is the earthly echo of that form, the particulars, which are imperfect imitations of this divine form. And because what we create on earth decays, it's subject to our physics, to the laws of our world, it can be sometimes volatile, and beauty here on earth can harm us because of this. And this is parallel to human sin, I think. I mean, the flesh is weak, is it not? The very fact of being on earth, it seems, is a handicap to us. The ultimate redemption is heaven, right? Heaven is this form of life, the ideal life. But here on earth, we are subject to earthly delights. We are predisposed to sin. This life here on earth is a particular of heaven, according to Plato's forms. So all of our life, it is this journey, it's our duty to do the very best that we can given our circumstances. And so this is why I say that we can be just as careless with our lives as we can be with beauty. And I find that in the absence of God, in the absence of beauty, I find that we care very little. Or as Camille Paglia would probably say, we would be suicidal and hopeless from the very beginning, and as a species we would have died out very early on without belief in beauty, without belief in God or something divine, something higher than ourselves. And I want a better world for us. And it is true that both beauty and religions have equal amounts of retribution to pay. There are hundreds of years of crime associated with both. And at times in history, they have intermingled. So with knowing all this, why denounce one man over the other? Am I truly the heretic here? As Arthur Simmons said, does a man who comes to art not find himself any more successfully than a man who comes to religion? I mean, I feel that I don't consider myself a Christian or any variation of it, but I am religious. I feel close to the Catholic often, especially at Mass, especially in an art museum. What can reconcile us both is respect, dignity, and loyalty. Even when beauty is not respected, it decays more quickly if we stop revering beauty in society. Then the society, it starts to lose respect for itself. So when I go into the art museum at the same hour as the Catholic or the Christian, know that I walk in wearing my best, acting my best, and I am ready to receive some kind of spirit, some inspiration, some tranquility. We walk together. Some days feeling low about ourselves, feeling weak and vulnerable, hoping for some touch of strength. And we come out an hour or two later, feeling ornamented in armor, ready again to take on the world in all its ugliness, as I would call it, or as the Christian or Catholic would call it, sin. We are better now than before we walked in. We are perhaps transformed for but a moment into a higher form of ourselves, perhaps the form of ourselves, our idealized self. This video is me, I suppose, answering the question to the best of my ability right now of what I believe, what my religion is, how I feel towards other religions. This is what I can understand right now, what I can elucidate right now about how I feel. And like I said, my wish is not to be a bad person, and I feel whenever I am around beautiful things, I feel that I should conduct myself according to the same laws and principles that divinity, that beauty, that God would, how they would conduct themselves. At the end of the day, it is this desire to be better, to be greater, grander, and this always ends up coming down to operating on some kind of system, some kind of law, some kind of high order. Couldn't tell you what that order is yet. I don't think anybody's been able to be like, I know what this order is, but we're trying. And I think that's more than some other people can say, maybe. That maybe they don't care, or they're just trying to get on with their day, or just trying to live. I mean, I at least at the very least, I feel that want to strive to be greater, to do something better. And I think we are all, regardless if you are religious or maybe you're somebody like me, we fall, you know. We do things wrong, we hurt people, we sin, whatever. But we recognize that, and we look in the face of that and we say, that doesn't have to be the bare minimum for me. I am, of course, not in an art museum right now because that would be insane to try and record this in an art museum. I wouldn't even be able to speak like this in an art museum because, as I said, you should be quiet when you are in an art museum out of respect. I was in a museum. This is the reason why I did this video. I was in a museum recently, and I can't tell you how it bothers me whenever people come in to a very quiet, it's always very quiet, right? And people are talking at relatively high volume. And I just can't help but be like, do you not have any conception that this is kind of like a sacred space, that you're supposed to lower your voice, that you should tread carefully, you know? That you should be delicate with your existence. I often wonder that. You know, it's the same reason why people like hush you really loudly in church. Have some respect, right? Have some respect not only for the sanctum that you're in, but have some respect for yourself. Have some respect for your neighbor. For all this, I wouldn't call myself spiritual because I feel like today that term is currency, and it doesn't really mean a lot. I feel like religious means more. It means that you're more disciplined, that you're not just like, oh, go with the flow, I'll be a good person, but it's more localized than that. It's more structured than that, and there's more effort. I think, like I said, I've been talking about effort this whole time, you know. So yeah, I'd say I'm religious. That's where I'm at with the categorization, if I can categorize myself. I used to think I was agnostic until I started this channel. This channel has been a testimony to my journey in trying to describe how I feel about beauty, what it means for me in my life, and I want to transmute this feeling, this tranquility that I can get from beauty to other people. Hope they can understand. Hope that they too can walk down the street one day if they're feeling very down and hopeless, and something spontaneous happens, they look at a flower or a bird, or they look at a beautiful building, or they see two people hugging on the street, kissing or something, and they cry because they're so happy. They've recognized beauty is there. There's some kind of hope, something that is above all of this devastating reality, as I called it. It is a beautiful day, summer, and to tell you the truth, whenever I came into the cemetery today, I was feeling a little bit too close to the void, to chaos, feeling a little unhinged, and just doing this video and talking about this put me at ease. And I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna edit this video and I'm gonna put it out into the world and share it with you all and feel some tether to something when I'm done, because that's what we're all trying to do, isn't it? Trying to find some rock to hold on to. That's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to comment. Do not forget to like and subscribe. If you're new here and you got all the way to the end, welcome. And I will see you here hopefully next week. Goodbye.